You are listening to Personal Development Mastery Podcast, where you will find both the inspiration to grow and the actions to implement towards your next level. I am your host, 𝘁𝗁𝗃, and my mission is to inspire you to stand out and live your best life. I interview thought leaders, authors, entrepreneurs, spiritual teachers, exceptional people who will inspire you to improve your life and offer, through their wisdom, actions you can take and implement. Tune in for 2 new episodes each week and make sure you follow the podcast to get the episodes as soon as they are released. Welcome to episode 203. And this episode today is a consolidation one. And I've picked a topic which I believe many people wonder about and spend much time or even their life trying to figure it out. And I know that because I have been one of them. And it is the subject of purpose, life purpose. Why are we here? Are we here for a reason? What is it that we are meant to do? And I remember there was a period in my life many years ago when I was completely unaware of what my purpose was. And actually at some point I made it a mission of mine, a quest of mine to discover what my purpose was, and kept on looking, and I was doing it or trying to do it in a methodical way. I remember reading books and articles about it, preparing a speech about it, and this topic is something that I've had my fair share of exploration and discoveries. So today I have picked 3 of the older episodes of the podcast with 3 of my guests discussing exactly this topic. The first one we will listen to is Robert Quinn, who featured on episode 52. Robert Quinn is a best-selling author with 18 books at the time of the recording, so he probably has more by now. And Robert and I discussed living a purpose-driven life, and asked him to define what he means by purpose-driven life, and this is what he answered.
To have a purpose-driven life is to be very, very clear about why you're on this planet. Many people believe they're on the planet to eat, to sleep, to reproduce, which are the same things animals do. Mm-hmm. There's an entirely different perspective in life. And that perspective is, I have a contribution to make. So my purpose is my contribution to the world. How will the world be different because I was here? How will people be better off? A life purpose is not an ego mechanism. It's not something about what you acquire. I'm going to make a lot of money. That is not a life purpose. I want to have a lot of power. That's not a life purpose. A life purpose is your gift to the world. What is uniquely you, and how do you give it away? And the moment you can answer that question, your life changes dramatically. In fact, everything changes. I have a good friend who has helped 15,000 people write purpose statements. Mm-hmm. He said, my purpose is to wake you up and bring you home. And what he meant by that is the moment you write your life purpose and you get it right, you feel like you've suddenly come home. And you feel wide awake, right? You feel very mindful and conscious, and you can see things you didn't see before. Having a life purpose changes everything.
The next person we will listen from is Adrian Hales, who featured on episode 47. Adrian Hales is a qualified master coach and trainer, and he talks about living your higher purpose. And when I asked him to talk about purpose, how he sees it and how one can approach finding, defining their own purpose, this was his answer.
Yeah, so purpose, I look at it as in every single person has got a reason that they're here, like a unique talent or gift to bring to the world. Mm-hmm. And really our life's purpose is, what we are born to do. And how I discovered that was, you spoke about ikigai, which is something I have used to find out the purpose, and coaching came through. But there's things like numerology to find out your purpose. There's things like archetypes to find out your purpose. There's things like gene keys, which is a way of embracing your higher purpose, of finding out really what's going on in the inside in terms of your emotions, in terms of your skills, your strengths, and then work out and map out actually what your purpose is. But sometimes I do a bit of a test with coaching clients sometimes, because when you say to people, what's your purpose? Or, because when we look at purpose, it's really about the work that fulfills you, right? It's really about what gives your sense of self a sense of joy and a sense of bliss that you could quite happily do for the rest of your life. You spoke about how much you love podcasting, and it shows with, the level of detail that you go into the podcast of really finding out some really great information to pass on to the listeners. So that shows. So we know when we're on purpose. And I always say to people, if you had 5 seconds to decide what you'd spend the rest of your life doing, what is it? And then I go 5, 4, and then boom, people come out with it straight away. And I think what stops people finding that purpose is taking too long to think about it. We all know what that is, as you said before. What would ultimately fulfill you, give you the biggest sense of joy and add value to other people's lives that you could quite happily do for the rest of your life and feel in flow when doing it? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, write it down. And that's probably one of the best ways I've found to find out your purpose.
We will also listen to Northern Deer Alexander, who was featured in episode 11. Northern Deer is a shaman, a spiritual teacher and healer, and a dear friend of mine as well. And in that conversation, we were talking about the importance of our vital energy. When we recorded that, it was when the coronavirus situation had just started happening around the world, and there was much fear of the virus because we didn't know much about it at that time. So while we were talking about that and how people's vital energy gets drained by the negativity and the fear-mongering of the media, I asked him how we can fortify ourselves and reclaim this vital energy of ours. And his answer took us to the concept of purpose. And here is Northern Deer Alexander talking about this.
I will tell you from many points of view, and everybody can take from this what he can utilize. For me, the most important of all is, until this moment, to have realized what is your actual purpose in your life. To have a real self-realized purpose. What does this mean and why? Because when you have a purpose, the purpose, of course, is something positive. And if this purpose is the purpose of your life, then anything else is secondary. If it is the purpose of your life, it means this is like the most important for you, for your life. So, the first thing you have to do is to not lose this. For example, if now a disease comes and you start forgetting your life's purpose, you are going to be disconnected from the big source of energy for you. Now, somebody may think, yes, but what if my life purpose was to go right, let's say, to one direction, but now because of the disease, I have to go left. I have to now stop everything else. So I have two answers about this. First, it may mean that it was not the real purpose for you, because if it is the real purpose, nothing should stop it, even disease. For example, let's say if your real purpose was to have a happy family, let's say, a disease should stop happiness and you start having like a suffering family. No, you have to sustain somehow your spirit and the joy and the good condition and the happiness in your home. Okay? It does not matter if somebody is sick. If sickness will destroy your psychology, then you are missing on your goal, which was to create a happy family and a happy union within yourself. If your purpose was self-realization, for example, a spiritual purpose, a disease could not stop you. You say, now I cannot, let's say, meet my true self because now I'm sick. I have to take care of my health. Then it means health is disconnected from yourself. So it takes you somewhere else. So it was not the real path then. Because in the real path, you have to connect everything that life has.
And he carried on discussing how our energy expands when we express ourselves freely. And if we allow ourselves more to be free in our self-expression and the way that we live, then this vital energy starts flowing more easily. And here's his conclusion on the connection between having vital energy and following our purpose in life.
The same is for everything, for your own energy.
Yeah.
And another thing, yes, is to have ideas and goals and purposes in your life that motivate you, that inspire you, that are not boring or through obligation. And all this together gives you the flow of vital energy to wake up in the morning and you are happy to wake up and live. If you wake up in the morning and you say, oh my God, I have to wake up and to again live, all these things, something is wrong. I have to do all these things to meet again my boss, to meet my spouse, and I don't want to wake up. Yes, you have to see something there.
And I will end this episode with one more snippet, this time from Robert Quinn again, who was the first one we listened to today. And I had asked Robert how we can identify our purpose. He said that when we look carefully at what keeps on happening in our life, at what our life's experiences are, this can help us identify the very purpose in a way that we may not have considered before. So here is Robert's answer on how to identify our purpose.
Yes, there's many, many answers to that question. And if you go on the internet, you'll find many methods that people offer, all of which have some value. We work with a lot of folks where we simply say, you've got 90 seconds. Write a one-sentence life purpose. It should be simple, should be clear. Write it down. Now, most people panic when we give them that assignment. But in their 90 seconds, they put something down, and they usually don't like it very much. We say, that's absolutely fine. What we want you to do, we're going to give you some ways to think about this, but every day we want you to take 2 minutes and rewrite your sentence. It may take 11 days, it may take 25 days, it may take 60 days, but one morning you're going to rewrite that sentence and you're going to run to whoever's closest to you and say, read this. You're going to be excited because you've come home and you're awake, that you really will capture it. Now, there are many, many things that help, like list the 10 best and the 10 worst things that ever happened to you. As you look at these 20 things, what has life prepared you to do that no one else can do? Now, that's a really interesting transformational question. suddenly, because when I write my 10 best things, that makes me happy. When I write the 10 worst things, I'm depressed. I'm on the carpet. But suddenly you ask the question, what did these 20 things, what have they prepared you to do that no one, suddenly the 10 negative things are not negative anymore. They're teachers. Mm-hmm. And so if I've had a terrible experience, that prepares me to empathize with other people who've had that terrible experience. I learned things in that process. When I look at the best things that ever happened to me, why did they give me joy? What was it about them? What patterns exist across these? And as I begin to look at myself, I can derive clues as I rewrite my life sentence. And there are many, many other things that can be done, but it's personal work. It's deep reflection. It's about knowing who I am. And many people cut the process at the beginning, fearing that they have nothing. Our experience is that everybody has what it takes to write a life statement. It's just a matter of engaging the process.
I hope you found something valuable and useful among these parts of the conversations, and something actionable as well, something you can implement yourself. If you enjoyed this episode, I certainly intend to do more of them. I believe it's very useful to condense the wisdom contained in these conversations and distill it into actionable items that we can pick up and implement in order to change and grow and improve our life. But I want your help. So tell me, what are your challenges? What kind of content you would most benefit from listening? Go to personaldevelopmentmasterypodcast.com and send me a message through there. And a quick question before I go. Have you ever thought of having your own podcast, sharing your voice, making an impact, but you don't want to go through the time-consuming learning processes of how to create and launch a podcast, of how to record and do the sound editing and the hosting and so on? If that resonates, then I have a solution for you. A solution that takes away all the complexity and allows you to concentrate only on creating your quality content. So go to my website, 𝗁𝗁𝗺𝗀𝗆𝗄.com, to find out more about my service and to get your copy of my free guide about creating and launching your podcast in 7 simple steps. And until next time, stand out, don't fit in.